Mãozinha pra frente, ombrinho, cabeça, vira e vai.
Toma, toma. Oi, toma, toma.
Mãozinha pra frente, ombrinho, cabeça, vira e vai.
Toma.
So today we're going to talk about keyframe in CapCut. So let's look at the basics first. So how do we get keyframe? When you tap on your video, you'll see a little diamond appear right on the screen by the play button here. See that diamond right here? That's the keyframe button. And when you tap on it, you see a red diamond appear in the timeline of your video. Now if you come off of it, you'll still see the diamond, but it will now be white. That means that it's not going to be affected by what you do. So in order to make edits to that point, it needs to be red and on that point. Okay, a keyframe basically gives you the freedom to move your screen in different ways without like having to cut up the video into a bunch of pieces and move them. You can get that all done within the video. So two ways I use keyframe is if I want a slow zoom, either zoom in or zoom out. And how you do that is that, of course, you must start with a keyframe at the very beginning. Let's call this an anchor keyframe, right? Now, if you don't put this here and you go to somewhere in the middle of the video and add a keyframe without that one being there in the beginning, when you decide maybe to zoom the video, the entire thing is going to be zoomed. Okay, so allow me to show you an example of adding a keyframe in the middle of your video without having the anchor. So I'm going to slide to the middle of my video and add a keyframe. Now let's adjust my video. Let me zoom my video in here. Now let's come off of this. You see that the entire video was in fact zoomed up, so then that keyframe serves no purpose. Alright, so let's undo that and add our anchor here. Or it could be a little closer up. It just needs to be at a point to start an anchor to hold the video down to its original position. Okay, and I'm going to add another one about right here, and this one I'm going to zoom like this, right? And now let's start over. It's going to look like this. All right, so that's the effect, and after that keyframe it will be zoomed in as well. Okay, as you can see, that's for a gradual zoom in. Now if you want a zoom that is sudden, this is how you do it. So let's say I start here, and right, so I have that first keyframe. You move until the keyframe is no longer red and add the next one. Now personally, for me, I know that I want to begin my video zoomed in like this, right? Now when you switch to this one, it will zoom out abruptly or very quickly. See, like that. Okay. You see the difference from the previous one? Like this. It's a more abrupt change. Of course, it could go the other way, where I go from far away to zoomed in. See, of course, we know that when we zoom this one in, the rest of the video is going to be zoomed in. If we don't intend for the rest of the video to be zoomed in, you can add a third keyframe right after the second one, like that. And when you zoom, make sure you highlight the right one. When I zoom this one in, it will go back to the usual size when it gets the third keyframe. So See, so you get a pop out effect when you put three together like that. You can also give a vibe as though you're handling a camera or trying to pick up motion with keyframe. So I chose this photo booth because there's a lot of movement. Jen is swaying left and right, and I love when I'm doing these type of videos and using keyframe to follow those movements. So I would start like this. I'd put my anchor down here and I make the second one right after before I make any adjustments. And like I said, I'm starting a little zoomed in, right? So right, so now for me, I want to add some movement to the swaying, right? So what I will do is I will check out how this way goes. So dip, swing, dip, swing. So when I will add a keyframe about here, and then one right after, and I'm going to shift this video a little to the, of course I need to zoom it in because you would not see the movement. So I'll shift this video to the right like so, and then slowly there's a, and I add another keyframe and then another one right after. That's just to keep things sharp, and like it's like putting pins on a cloth. So if you want the fabric to be in a particular position, you will add pins right through so that the next movement will not be affected by the previous one or anything like that. So right, this is the fourth keyframe here I'm going to use, and I'm going to drag her back to the middle and then add a next keyframe right after, because the sway to the right happens directly after, and I'm going to sway to the right like this. So of course this is what it looks like now. See? Of course, what I would do is center it before I go into that next dance move there. So swish, 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 center, and then swish, swish again. So let's continue this build here. So right here, she'll be moved back to the center, right? And then a keyframe is going to come before this move, right? So anchor at the next point. So it's gonna be swish, so swish, and then center, anchor, and then swish, and let's see how that looks. Now also you can use keyframe to give a slow reveal of your outfits. Like if you were doing like a lookbook, it can be used to give a slow reveal. So first we start with the anchor. Hold on, I want that to be a little more here. And right, so what we're going to do is center this, zoom it up, drag it all the way to the bottom, maybe zoom out a little bit because you want to see the whole outfit. So right, we're at the bottom and we don't want like black edges, so this is as far as we could go. And then we just go inch by inch, drag, add a keyframe, drag, add a keyframe, drag, add a keyframe, drag, add a keyframe, maybe zoom out to reveal the whole thing. So let's see how that looks. What we could do instead as well, instead of all that keyframe, you can of course leave the anchor. So that's the anchor here, add one here, and then find the end of this. So Louis Vuitton, and then you of course for this one you zoom all the way in, drag it down, and then go to the next keyframe. Okay, let's delete that keyframe. So we zoom it in. Let's just hear well, right? So we stop there and we drag it all the way up to show her face, and then one right after to zoom out like this. So let's see how what that does. See? Slow pan upwards and then quick reveal of whole outfit. And of course, oops, I did a wrong thing there. Of course, we add our next anchor, add the keyframe right after, and we're going to zoom it in to her center, and then add another keyframe here. We're gonna go to this arm, we add another keyframe right after, drag so that you can see her hand, and then add another keyframe and drag till you can see the hand, another keyframe to this next hand that just appeared, another keyframe, drag to the center of the hand. So basically we'll be trying to make sure the hand is the main character, and then yeah, so we have the hand again. I chose to zoom out at this point, so let's see what we have so far. And then maybe we can do an in-out action here. So that's how you manipulate your keyframe. So let's do the full video. And there we have it. Of course, you could do what you want with your videos, but this is how you use those keyframes. The important part is making sure that you pin every point how you want it to look, because if you miss one, you may have extra work to do because something might be zoomed or zoomed
Note,
out where
keyframe
you
can be
don't want it
used
to
on
be.
your
And that's
overlay as
basically
well
how
as your
keyframe
text
works. It's
or
very
sticker
simple.
layers.
And
Click on the layer you would
now
like
it's your
to
turn to try it
use
out.
keyframe on specifically. Only the layer that the keyframe is applied to will be affected by its adjustments.